Hawkeye stands no chance here. I love Hawkeye. I think he's a great dad. I think he's a great role model. But there's no way he should be fighting anyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to CBR Saga, CBR's one and only podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Giant Floating Sky Bases Are Us. Are you tired of normal, boring land bases? Do you want an evil headquarters that screams, I'm a serious villain? Do you want to stay above the radar? Well, you're in luck. Giant Floating Sky Bases Are Us is exactly what you're looking for. Call today and their dedicated support squad will find an unoccupied airspace that fits your needs and secure your place in the clouds. But enough about corporate sponsorship. Let's get into today's episode. And we're excited to bring you another awesome debate. Now, today's saga is a bit different as we're pitting some huge US-based heroes against some of the biggest UK heroes. It's a battle of the nations today, and we're going to see who comes out on top. So what does that mean? Well, we'll have Captain America versus Captain Britain, then Hawkeye versus Black Knight, and then finally we'll have Spider-Man versus Blade. And yes, Blade is originally British. How cool is that? I think this one is definitely going to be an interesting one for sure. I'm joined by my co-host Nick. Nick, how you doing today?
Hello, Jacoby. Never mind. Not going to do it. So bad. I'm doing well, and I just gave away what side I'm on.
So you are obviously supporting the UK side here. So with that in mind, do you think these British heroes deserve maybe a bit more of a spotlight than they usually get? Because I think a lot of the focus on these US heroes. But do you think UK deserves more recognition?
I think, yeah, absolutely. And I think we're gonna get it soon too, because like Blade's coming out. I don't know that people know of Blade as like a British hero, like a British staple. But even if you look at like the What If series, like Peggy Carter is getting a spotlight shined on her. So yeah, I absolutely think there's room to expand globally.
Especially for the fact that most of the MCU heroes that we know are just British actors doing American accents, right? So it's like, why not just have more British
or British Australian actors doing like British characters in space?
Yeah, exactly. That's on the logline for sure. So this is going to be a big one. Let's get into our first kind of fight here in this Revolutionary War, part 2, I would say. So let's kind of get started with with one of the biggest matchups, and I think that's you have Captain America versus Captain Britain. I think two characters who are supposed to represent the ideals of their nation, the best. And I'll start this one off if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course.
So I think although their names are similar and powers are somewhat similar, I think it's their origins that I think is going to be a big difference here. I mean, Steve Rogers always wanted to be a hero. I mean, like he wanted to go, do the right thing to fight the big fight, and that's why he was chosen kind of for the super soldier program. And his good nature, which I guess apparently is like super rare, because almost anybody else who takes the super soldier serum is easily corruptible, but not Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers has that good in him that makes him one of the best, and that helps him keep going. And that attitude has led him to be one of the best heroes in the MCU. I mean, like, he always does what's right and will always do what is possible to get that win. He can do this all day, especially compared to, Captain Britain, whose powers just sort of kind of fell, into his lap. And, Steve Rogers worked for his powers. So although they're similar, I think that's what gives him the edge here in this starting match.
Well, I wouldn't say they fell into his lap. I would say he was a little motivated by desperation, which in many times gives people the will to win fights. I think Killian said something like to Tony, like, "Hey, you gave me desperation, and now I'm gonna kill you." So, Captain Britain's powers came about because he was dying, and he was given the choice to either like fight for evil or like be given this amulet and live. And he chose the side of life. So the desperation, the needing to live, the needing to go on, I think gives someone an edge in a fight. Captain America, yes, is a very good super soldier. Is a very like patriotic, like Boy Scout hero, but he loses fights a lot. He loses against the Winter Soldier. He loses against Thanos the first time. He honestly kind of loses against Thanos the second time until like Tony Stark and Thor take him out. Captain Britain, I think, has a better power set, and I think has the better mindset when it comes to just a one-on-one fight. When it comes to being like a true hero, I think Captain America wins every day. But I think Captain Britain wins in a fight.
You're discounting the fact that, Captain America lost. Yeah, he lost against Thanos because he's Thanos. If you're putting Captain Britain on the same level as a Thanos level fighter, then something's really wrong with you. I think Captain Britain is like Buttrock the Leaper type of status, like in terms of strength and everything like that. That's the type of villain that he's going to be facing. He only lost to Bucky because it's also Bucky that, obviously that's going to influence his decision and how he's going to do that. But when it comes to like their skill set, I mean, like Captain Britain was formed by like magic, and I think like when I was like looking at Captain Britain's history, it's like what the rules keep changing when it gives him whatever his power set is. I mean, like sometimes he needs to be wearing his suit in order to give him these immense powers. Sometimes it's his emotions that dictate, like how strong he is, and sometimes it's like the amulet that he wears in order to do that. Well, in all three of those instances, Captain America is going to come out on top. If it's the amulet, Captain America is just going to chuck that shield and break that amulet instantly. If it's his suit, we've seen Captain America fight. What he does against suits when he fights against Tony when he totally destroyed it. He's going to destroy that suit. And if it's emotions, then I think Captain America could easily kind of get into his head and manipulate the emotions more by just how awesome and great Captain America is. But throughout all that, Captain America, he stays consistent. He doesn't really have a weakness, so to say, something to exploit. And when these battle of two kind of equally matched heroes, that's going to be very important here.
Exactly. He stays consistent. Captain Britain has his lows, I agree. And I like the Captain Britain the best where it's based on his confidence level, where like Merlin says like, okay, like you've had the suit for a while, you've had the amulet, you've had the spear that lets you fly. Now I'm going to make it based on your confidence level. You can fly if you're confident enough. You can fight, and he actually has the ability to like create a mini force field around himself, which gives him like the durability. So he basically has a built-in suit of armor. I choose that because every punch he lands against Cap, every kick is going to boost his confidence, and he's only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger throughout the fight. That's something Steve just doesn't have. He will stay the same level the whole time. He can't improve. He also can't get worse. So that is a positive for him. If Captain Britain decides to be like, oh no, he punched me, I'm scared now, then he might be in trouble. But I don't think that's the type of person Brian Braddock is. I think he will. He's led teams before. He's a leader through and through. He might not be like I think Captain America is like the gold standard when it comes to like leader confidence fight. But Captain America's confidence doesn't give him more power. Captain Britain's does.
I think all Captain America needs to do to break Captain Britain's confidence is maybe just like pick up a big barrel of tea and dump it in the harbor, and then all of a sudden everything is just going to go out the window, no holds barred. Captain America is going to win there.
He doesn't even like tea. More of a coffee guy.
You know that. Okay, he's definitely more of a coffee guy. So definitely an interesting fight. Who wins? I guess that's the big question. Let us know who you think will take this victory in this battle as we move on to our next fight. And I think this one is also kind of a fun one. I think it's going to be interesting. You have Hawkeye or Clint Barton, as I guess we need to clarify now because, I guess that's going to be very important. It's got to be Clint Barton versus Black Knight, who's set to make his debut in the Eternals movie played by Kit Harington. Will he have a big future in the MCU? Potentially, but can he win this fight? Who knows? I started the last one, so Nick, why don't you start us off for this one?
Yeah, poor Hawkeye, man. He stands no chance here. Black Knight is this awesome character who, first of all, Clint Barton is like the sixth build guy on any team he's on. Black Knight has led the Avengers. He has led Ultra Force. He's a leader, and he just has a more advanced weaponry. He has a suit of armor that's stored in a necklace, kind of like Black Panther. And he wields one of the most powerful weapons, I think, and understated weapons seen in the Marvel Universe is the Ebony Blade, which just gives him these incredible powers. It can stave off magic, which like isn't helpful for Hawkeye because, he's not magical. He's just got some arrows anyway. So like the fact that he's got this cool sword isn't even relevant against the magic part. But he can still like absorb energy. So if Hawkeye tries to shoot some exploding arrows, he can absorb the energy and redirect it, kind of like Black Panther does. I think he's far outmatched here.
You say that he's like the sixth build. It's like, oh, he's a sixth build man on the team. But in the movie, in the Eternals movie, he's going to be like the 12th character. He's not even an Eternal. He's there off to the side. He's going to be a very side character. So you can't pit billing status against them here. And here's what I think is interesting about Hawkeye. It's like, yes, he started off as the butt of like everyone's jokes, but I think now that he has become this beloved character who I still don't even know he's not even in the Marvel Studios logo. That's how much disrespect Hawkeye gets all the time, which is it's a weird thing. It's been so long. Put him in the Marvel Studios logo. But anyways, the thing with Hawkeye that makes him so great is that he doesn't lose very often. I mean, like there's that meme going around where it shows that, when he was working with Loki wins. Then when he switched sides to the Avengers wins. And every time he was with the Avengers, the Avengers win. The one time he set out for Infinity War, the Avengers lost. So like Hawkeye is the crux. He's the staple. He is what you need in order to get a victory here. And especially against someone like Black Knight, who is a good swordsman, but who's also a good swordsman? Ronin. Hawkeye, Clint, he kicks butt here. He can totally match anything I see your look here, but he can totally go toe to toe with Black Knight here. And even if he can't, even if he's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go face the magic swordsman in hand-to-hand combat, even though I'm very confident in my abilities, I'm going to do what I should do and play to my strengths, which is be an archer, be far away from everything here. Use his incredible strategy and tactician level knowledge to stay away from Black Knight and shoot him from afar and wear Black Knight down and hit him when he doesn't even expect it. So Hawkeye has the experience, and so he's not just some guy who's just handed a sword and just like, hey, I'm going to be a hero now type thing. He's trained to be this level. He is one of the best in the MCU, and he's going to kick Black Knight's butt. I didn't know I had that much to say about Hawkeye.
So, Hawkeye's team loses Civil War. They lose against Ultron.
They won the moral victory.
They lose against Ultron the first time. Black Knight has beaten a guy called Swordsman in a sword fight. Hawkeye struggles with the dude in Japan. It takes him a good 5 minutes to actually win that sword fight. I would not be pitting these two as swordsmen against each other. Other than that, Black Knight's got a suit of armor made by elves. And if the Middle Earth universe and the Marvel universe cross over at all, Frodo can take a spear to the stomach with armor made by elves and survive. So I think Black Knight's suit could stop a few arrows here and there. Black Knight is such a mastery in hand-to-hand combat. He's fought Captain America. He's fought Wolverine and beaten them. And here's the other thing. Black Knight, much like my friend Valkyrie, has a flying horse. So Hawkeye wants to play the coward's game and stand back and just shoot arrows all day. Black Knight's just going to get up on his horse and go find him and cut his head off with the Ebony Blade. Hawkeye stands no chance here. I love Hawkeye. I think he's a great dad. I think he's a great role model, but there's no way he should be fighting anyone.
Is the horse wearing a suit of armor too? Because that's going to actually be
magical. It has wings.
Magical. It doesn't need one for the suit of armor. You're just discounting the normal arrows that he has. Hawkeye has so many different trick arrows, bomb arrows, acid arrows, electrical vision stopping arrows. It's like they could take any old timey metal suit of armor. That is not going to stop Hawkeye any bit. But okay. Fine. Another interesting fight. I know it's going to be a tough one for Hawkeye, but just don't count out Hawkeye quite yet, because he also has a cool costume too. Did you see that one where he didn't have a sleeve in I think it was Age of Ultron? I mean, that's pretty cool. No, Civil War, he didn't have a sleeve. Whatever one he didn't have a sleeve in, that one is that's just as good as a suit of armor. Yep. But I guess it's not up to us, even though I clearly won that one. So, but let us know who you think won the fight down in the comments below as we move on to our final fight today. And it's kind of a bit of a fun one. We have Spider-Man versus Blade. And yes, although the movie versions of Blade portray him as an American, in the comics he was born in London and does speak with a British accent. So for today's purposes, he's a Brit. And I think I'll start off this one, if that's fine.
Yeah,
if that's okay with you. So I think Blade is a great hunter. I mean, it's kind of his thing. But he's going up against the most wily, the most agile, the strongest, and probably the most annoying person he could ever go up against. And I'll be fair here, and I'll say Blade will fight Tom Holland's Spider-Man to make it a bit more even for you, because if it was comic Spider-Man, Blade wouldn't even have a chance. But at least with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, who's new, he's kind of new to this game, he's trying to be a superhero, he might be a little naive around the vampire hunter, but that doesn't matter here because of his just raw strength, his talent, his spider sense, which is going to come in huge. It's going to play a huge factor in this fight here as Blade tries to hunt him. And it's just, I don't think there's any way that Blade could slay the spider.
Okay. Step number 1. Blade is a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Peter is like a 16-year-old kid. The second a 16-year-old kid learns of vampires' existence, he's going to go cry in the corner. All Blade has to do is show him his teeth and be like, look, I'm a vampire. I'm literally your worst nightmare from when you were a child. And Peter will just be out of the fight. I agree. Peter is stronger. But Blade is still very strong. I think Blade can hold his own in a fight. In like a hand-to-hand fight. I also think Blade's swordsman skills are going to come into play here. I think that's an advantage he has if they get up close one-on-one. And yes, Blade is mostly designed to fight vampires. I agree, but all that experience, I think vampires are a lot scarier, are a lot more tricky than a 16-year-old spider-themed hero. So I think Blade's history fighting these powerful villains, fighting these scary creatures is going to make Peter Parker like no challenge at all. And you say like Blade's a hunter. Yes, Spider-Man historically doesn't do great with hunters. Craven being example number 1.
Spider-Man is no Craven though.
He's easily huntable. I'm just gonna,
there's a big target on his back. The instead of Amazing Spider-Man, it's the Huntable Spider-Man is really what they should change his name to. Yeah. So you say that first of all, I just take issue with the fact that you think Peter will be scared. It's like, yes, vampires are scary, but after everything Peter just went through with Mysterio, who literally showed him all of his worst fears about, like a zombie Iron Man and being destroyed by multiple Spider-Man or whatever was happening in the in those fear things, that's going to negate anything. Blade shows up and shows him his teeth. It's like, oh, that's all you got? I fought Mysterio, dude. You're nowhere near as scary as this guy. I can take on this vampires exist. I'm ready now. I can do that. And that's I think that's the point in the essence of why Spider-Man will win this fight. I mean, like, yes, Blade has gone through a lot of trauma in his life, but like if you look at it, especially what Tom Holland's Spider-Man has experienced in the MCU so far, all of his fights that he's experienced with these aliens, with Mysterio, with everything, has just made him ready to take on someone as straightforward and normal as Blade. If it's Blade is no Craven, Blade isn't going to be as good of a hunter in these terms. He's not going to be able to track down and wipe out Spidey as well as a more experienced hunter can be. And it's that type of mindset that's going to paired with his strength and his just unwilling ability to just always stand up, like the way he lifts the concrete off in Homecoming because he believes in himself so much. All of that, Blade's just not going to be able to win this one.
So you bring up Mysterio, which makes me happy because when he got showed all those zombies and all those things that are supposed to scare him, he wound up getting hit by a train. He had to literally close his eyes to beat Mysterio because he was too scared by the fake things in front of him. When he sees a real vampire, he's going to be terrified. He's not going to be able to do it. Blade also has a great weapons maker in his corner. And Tom Holland doesn't anymore. Tony Stark's gone. He's not there anymore.
His warehouses are. They're all over the place.
Nope, Adrian Toombs stole them all. Whistler is a great weapons designer. He could see Spider-Man. Spider-Man's all over the news. They know who he is now. And he could design a weapon capable of fighting Spider-Man. I also think Blade is a great hunter. He's a fantastic hunter. I think vampires are some of the hardest things to track, to hunt. I think Tom Holland's face is now all over the news thanks to J.K. Simmons, and he won't be that hard to track down.
Okay, well, okay, fine. I like how you said J.K. Simmons, not J. Jonah Jameson. Like, it's actually just J.K. Simmons is the one who revealed revealed his identity. All right, I think that's going to be a good fight, and I think that about wraps up our final fight. As we move into some final thoughts, as that wraps up today's special U.S. versus UK saga. Which country has the better heroes? Well, let's be honest. I think they're all pretty cool, but if you put them against each other, who's going to win? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you, Nick, for being an awesome co-host, and we'll be back next time with another exciting CBR Saga episode. See you then.